One of the things I had to learn while reviewing smartphones is that there are different categories of phones, and you have to sort of constantly keep adjusting your expectations for each individual phone. And this, the Spark, it's no Canon. I've said this before, the Spark series feels more like a budget Canon. So if you can't afford the Canon, then why don't you look at the Spark? So for this review, I've had to lower my expectation so I could properly review this phone. So yeah, welcome to the review of the Tecno Spark 8P. Quickly, I want to point out that it comes in a smaller size box, which for some reason I like. It does come with all accessories in the box, but you'll notice the charging brick is smaller. Does it charge slowly? I guess we'll find out. But yeah, smaller size box for the same content inside. The main highlights of the 8P for me would be design, camera, display, and battery. Now I set realistic expectations for these four features, so let's see how well they do. Shall we start with the design? Okay, I must say, I am a fan. It's actually quite refreshing to look at. They could have gone for a more muted, boring, same old design, but this is just refreshing. I can almost feel a spark. I'm sorry, I had to do that. It's a dual tone finish with the top part housing the triple cameras glossy and about 70% of the rest of the phone matte. It has a somewhat subtle Tecno Spark text on the glossy section and a more pronounced stop at nothing text at the right side. And to be honest, I actually don't mind it. The back is made of plastic, so is the frame, so it's pretty lightweight and slim too. And taking a look at all the colors it comes in, I mean, they all look fantastic. It kind of looks like an Among Us character. Remember those? Design for me is like a 9 out of 10. Just nice to see that they're doing something different. I like that. The cameras are arranged vertically, and I'm really here for the main 50 megapixel sensor. Do I low-key wish it was as good as the Canon 18 Premiere? Of course I do. But the phone is like 2 times cheaper, so, you know. Anyway, I took some photos and I can say that I'm actually impressed. Colors look good and accurate, 9 times out of 10. It was sharp and detailed. Portrait mode is a bit more saturated, but I do like it. To be honest, edge detection as well is pretty sweet. But then the selfie camera, it's mostly a miss. Sometimes it did okay, but most of the times it was kind of like a C. Okay, so this is what video looks like on the Spark 8P. It shoots max at 1080p, I think. Video looks okay. But yeah, like, it's nothing fantastic. This is also what audio looks like, or sounds like rather. So cameras should be a 7 or 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10 because of the price. Photos, pretty good. On the front, we have a 6.6-inch 1080p display. It's LCD and 60Hz, so nothing crazy here. But it's a decent quality screen. I watched YouTube videos and movies, and I did like what I saw. It did benefit from that 1080p resolution. It was sharp and very detailed. It gets decent bright outside. On camera, it looks less bright, but in real life, it's quite manageable. But yeah, it could have been brighter. Now, I would normally complain about the 60Hz display or the fact that it's not OLED, but it's quite an inexpensive phone, so should we really be complaining? For the price, display could be 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. Now, I want to talk about software. It's running Android 11 with Tecno's iOS 7.6 skin, and I haven't been the biggest fan of iOS, but I did prefer how it looked on the Canon 18 Premiere. So iOS 8.0, I don't know why they didn't use that here. We still have the same vertical app drawer. App icons basically look the same, but it doesn't have that new notification/control center change. You know, the swipe from right, then swipe from left. It's gone. I mean, some people might like this, but I don't. And to be honest, if you don't, there's always the option to download a launcher. One thing though is that I doubt this phone would get future Android software updates. The Canon 18s already got theirs, but this didn't, so that makes me kind of doubt it would. But I do wish it did, so that might be a downside for you. Next up would be hardware. We've got a power/fingerprint reader, which is nice. We also got volume keys on the right side of the phone. On the left, we have the SIM card tray, and at the bottom, a microphone, headphone jack, micro USB, and one downward firing speaker. Now, clearly, there are two problems here, but let's just focus on one. Why micro USB? Tecno, come on, it's 2021. I mean, everyone's using Type-C. It's kind of strange to still see this, strange looking port on here. And remember that, small charger that we saw in the box? The one that we asked if it would charge slowly? Well, it's a 10-watt charger. So it does charge really slow. It would take you almost 3 hours to get this phone from 0 to 100. But I guess the good news is it does have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. So it would last you the entire day. And I've actually been an advocate for, phones that last you the entire day. It doesn't matter, what type of charging they have, because, you'd be charging when you're going to sleep, so it doesn't really matter. But after using this phone, it did matter somewhat. Next, let's have at least 15 watts, because 10 is kind of slow. But I do like that it has a nice charging indicator, which was super helpful, because plugging your phone, just making sure it's actually charging, the charging indicator definitely helps. And as far as the one speaker goes, well, the Canon 18 Premier only had one speaker, so can we really complain? Now let's look at the insides. That's another area where sacrifices were made. It runs the MediaTek Helio G35 chip with a Mali G52 2EEMC2 GPU, and I would say for basic tasks, it's great. You can multitask, you can play games, but it's definitely no Canon 18 Premier. It's not as snappy, apps open relatively slower. When you play games, it would work fine most of the time with, medium settings, of course, but I did occasionally notice frame drops, so basically it's a decent performer, but nothing special. For me, it's a 7 out of 10. And yeah, it's actually kind of surprising why they went with a weaker SoC. Tecno could have put a better chip in here, but if they did, that would drive up the price, and they're trying to make a budget phone, so I guess we can let that slide. There are two variants. We have the 4GB RAM, 64GB ROM version, which is the one I have here, and we also have one with more storage, 4GB of RAM, and 128GB of storage. It costs either 77,000 naira or 86,500. So again, budget phone. It's crazy though, to buy a budget phone, a good budget phone nowadays, you need to spend at least 70,000. Okay, so my final thoughts. This isn't supposed to be the best specs in the phone. Clearly, it's a budget phone. And when you're making budget phones, you have to make sacrifices, right? You want to make it affordable. So the question is, the sacrifices that they have made here, does it affect you? That will determine whether you should buy this or not. So I would say yes, if you want a good looking phone, this nails it. If you want a good display, this also nails it. You want to play heavy games on your phone, it does do the job, but not very well. So maybe not this. A battery that lasts you the entire day, yes, but 10-watt charging. But I think as an overall package, it's a really good device. It does most of the things right, and a few things it could have done better. One other phone around this price is the Galaxy A03s, which I happen to have already reviewed, but I plan on making a comparison video where you place these two together and, tell you which one to buy. So if you want to see that, you should definitely subscribe to the channel, because that is coming up pretty soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you when you see it.